Let me make sure it doesn't do that echo thing.
You're good.
Hold on one second. It still says it's going live, but I want to make sure that when it comes up, it doesn't. Hold on one second. It still says it's going live, but I want to make sure that when it comes up, it doesn't. All right. The floor is yours.
All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to 1 Million Cups Fairfax. We are going to have so much fun today. I'm telling you, I can't wait to hear from Reggie Holmes. Next slide, please. So, every week we have a great group of business owners and entrepreneurs, and we just have a blast. I'm sorry, we get together and we work through and help other business entrepreneurs with their struggles. If you can, please download the app if you haven't already, 1 Million Cups, and log in. We actually get seen by the national, so it's very helpful for you to do that. So if you can please do that. If you have any problems with logging in with your app, please just delete your app and reinstall it and then sign back in, and everything should be good to go. So 1 Million Cups is a group of entrepreneurship, community, and education. We encourage all of the participants to also, share if they know of anybody else who wants to apply. And we do have that link at the bottom at 1millioncups.com/Fairfax. Our mission is to lower the barrier of access to education, resources, and connection for all types of new and aspiring entrepreneurs throughout the United States. So our key pillars are presentations and not pitches, authentic connections, not networking. And this is run for the community, by the community. So everyone that participates and attends the call, it's a great way for us to give feedback to the entrepreneur. And our culture, it's a safe and supportive environment. And 1 Million Cups is co-owned by anyone and everyone who shows up and supports. We have intentional inclusivity. Our organizers, our presenters, our attendees. We are all volunteer-led. We rotate new organizers often, and we fuel the presenters pipeline together as a community. So we would love for you to join our community. Attend every single week, provide some feedback to our speakers, get our news, engage online, get those connections with these presenters even after they present. You could also follow us on social media. Here we've got our various social media, our YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So we have our organizers currently. I am one of the organizers. So we have our Elite 8 right now, but we are always welcoming anyone else who would like to assist us. We get together weekly for about 30 minutes to get things organized for the presenters that are coming up. And we also go over any applications for the presenters. So please join us if you're interested. Contact one of us, and we would be happy to give you more information about it. We also have brand ambassadors. Brand ambassadors, they share in the community and try to help us find presenters and promote 1 Million Cups and talk about it. So if you would like to be a brand ambassador, also please get in touch with us, and we would be more than happy to give you information on how you can share 1 Million Cups with others. So our sponsors, Office of Evolution. So John Yu, you're on the call. Would you like to tell us a little bit more?
Sure. Thanks, Tess. Welcome everyone to 1 Million Cups this morning. Office Evolution. We're pleased to be the space sponsor for a few years prior to pandemic. We used to meet at our space. Office Evolution is a co-working space located right here in Tyson's Corner. We offer various space, from private offices to virtual office, as well as meeting room space. So it's a great way to for anyone who's just having a fatigue and working from home and just need a different environment, change of environment. Come on out. We have day offices. You can rent offices hourly basis as well. So we offer various options for small business owners as well as entrepreneurs. Thanks, Tess.
Sure. We also every month have a coffee sponsor. So CBD Nation. So is Gresh on the call?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
So tell us, how are you this morning?
I'm doing phenomenal. How are you doing, Tess?
I'm good.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be a coffee sponsor. You can, of course, get second and thirds and all of that in between on me. But my name is Gresham. I have a company called CB Nation. Basically, it's a community of resources for CEOs, entrepreneurs, and business owners. So have daily podcasts, blog posts, video content, listing businesses, just many different ways to help you to kind of tell your story, get your name and information out there. So launching a very niche focus community kind of within the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. So if you want to know more information about that, definitely feel free to reach out to me. But thank you again for the opportunity.
Sure. And thanks, Gresh. So if you would like to be a coffee sponsor as well, we can get you in touch with John Yu and work that out just for you. So how our virtual meetings work, just a few housekeeping things. You want to keep your video on and you want to keep your microphones on mute. Please use the wave icon in the so that if you have questions or would like to make comments towards the end for the presenter, we can go ahead and get you recognized and we'll excuse me, facilitate that. Same thing, the moderator will call on you and tell you your name so that you can unmute your microphone, say your name and who you're with, and then ask your question or make your comment. We do ask that if you could please make those comments and questions short to give the presenter enough time to give a sufficient answer for you. And then please put your microphone back on mute when you're finished speaking. All right, so with SOAR, is designed to help new business owners get comfortable, excuse me, being in the face of business, especially online. They are focused on new and early stage entrepreneurs who may not be able to buy strategy or design services, but still want to invest in themselves. So with that, we're gonna let Reggie take it away.
All right, thank you, Tess. Good morning, everybody. It's really a pleasure to be able to be here on this side of the microphone, I guess, as a presenter, not as a brand ambassador or a guest. So thank you for your time and for showing up today. A challenge question is, from the perspective of an early stage startup entrepreneur, what do you think may be missing from this offering? And I'll talk a little bit about what SOAR is. And then how can I create more meaningful differentiation and added value for my target client? So that's a challenge question. Next slide. So a little bit about me. As most of you know, I am the owner of Enthuse Creative, and we do brand strategy and design, creative services for businesses. And I've been doing that since 2013, 2014. And, through that work, I've obviously done a lot of speaking and presenting on branding and brand related topics. I've also, during the pandemic, started to do virtual events. I do monthly luncheon labs, which are events where we bring business owners together to dive deeply into a brand related topic, and also some events where I just brought in other creatives to be able to network together. So I'm also, a husband and a father of a 10.5-week-old, Jalen. That's him at the top there. And so this has obviously changed my world quite a bit in a great way. But it's also got me thinking about other ways to sort of extend the work that I do with businesses. And so that kind of brings me to SOAR. So SOAR is, this is the landing page. It's at standoutandrise.com. That's what SOAR stands for. And so through that process of just thinking about how to sort of reinvigorate the work that I do, I developed this SOAR program. So I'll talk a little bit more about it. Next slide. So the problem that I solve, SOAR is, this one-to-one coaching program, and it's designed for small business owners. You know, a lot of times in this work that I do, they want the professional branding services for, you know, their corporate entity, but they often were not able to necessarily afford what it costs, or they didn't really understand the cost of providing these professional services for their business. And I'm obviously connected to this community, which serves the entrepreneur. And I wanted to be able to develop something where I could continue to add value to that client. Throughout the pandemic, their businesses continue to be formed. Every day people leave, you know, corporate jobs and decide to start their own business, to pursue their own passion. Nearly 5.4 million new businesses were registered in 2021, which is a 23% increase from the year before. So it's a trend that we're going to see continue. And I think that I wanted to be positioned to obviously continue to help the businesses with their branding. But a lot of times those needs are different than the early stage entrepreneur that's getting started. So what I found was really powerful was this idea of the personal brand. And a personal brand is a professional brand. That's the reality of life today online, doing business, where a lot of times it's not necessarily face-to-face, but it's over screens, and it's through platforms like Zoom and social media. And so being able to have a personal identity that people can see and connect with is really important. And so I wanted to be able to offer value to people that find themselves at that place in the journey of getting their business started. A lot of people, you know, much like myself, were a little bit reticent to build that personal brand or to even sort of engage with that idea. I would love to just be able to do great designs and let them sell themselves. But the reality is that people, as we've always said, want to work with other people that they know, like, and trust. And so building that personal brand is really creating momentum and leverage around who you are, what you believe in, and how you serve the market, and letting that be the vehicle to help drive your business growth. So I think that's really powerful and important for people that are just getting started. And that's what gave birth to Stand Out and Rise. Next slide. So as I mentioned, I started the company Enthuse Creative in the 2013, 2014 timeframe, really desiring to work with businesses as a graphic designer. If you asked me back then what I do, that's what I would tell you. 2018, 2019, I actually did a presentation at 1 Million Cups when we were meeting in person, and spoke about my desire to sort of shift focus to more strategic branding work, where it's a little bit more of a people business as opposed to a pixel business, right? I'm not just sitting behind a computer creating designs, but I'm really engaging one-on-one with business owners. And so I think that was sort of where the seed was planted. Like, I really enjoyed this work of working with entrepreneurs in this more consultative coaching kind of way, as opposed to just being an order taker, creating designs, and then passing them off and sort of being done with it. So I think the vision for SOAR took shape more clearly last year. And then I'm sort of officially launching it now with the goal to, grow it into a little bit more of a group practice, perhaps have a course, some half-day workshops and things like that in the future. There's a lot of opportunities to grow it, as it grows along. So next slide. And as I mentioned, who we help, those new and early stage entrepreneurs that really want to build a great business, but they're maybe not as interested in the personal brand part of it, but they don't have necessarily the funding and capital to spend a lot of money on, really intense branding process, lots of marketing collateral, website development. But what they really need is to attract people to themselves, but they're either sort of unwilling or unable, or just not really confident, maybe introverted, reserved like myself. But they see the value in that, and they're willing to make that investment in themselves to learn how to overcome some of those things, to be comfortable being the face of a growing business, and to use that to leverage business opportunities. And I like to say it's the mindset, the metal, and the message. So there's some work on who you are as a person and as a business owner, and then also what you need to say and who you need to say it to in order to raise that profile, that personal brand. So it's a little bit of strategy, some tactics, and a lot of just helping to draw out the leader that's already within that person. So this is a little bit of what people say. Some of the things that you know, a prospect for this type of program might say. You know, I don't know how or don't want to put myself out there. That's what I heard the most as I was sort of vetting this idea. I'm not comfortable selling to people. I don't know what to say. I'm afraid to say the wrong thing. I just want to be in the background, you know, and then also they might say, you know, well, I don't like networking. I just don't want to be out there. I'd rather just, you know, do my product or service and just let that take care of itself. But the reality, again, as I mentioned, is people, they want to work with who you are as a person. They want to work with you, and they have to know who you are, what you're about, and why that's unique and valuable. And so SOAR is really about drawing those things out and helping a business owner feel confident putting them out in front of their audience. And this is just a picture sort of illustrating, you know, me talking to someone. I'm talking to a business owner, actually explaining to her what branding is. And so this is what I like to do. I just wanted to include this to sort of show that, you know, this is sort of how I envision what this program is all about, you know, which is more, I like to say, development focus as opposed to deliverable focus. And it's a little bit of a shift for me personally, but it definitely aligns with how I've always worked with the best clients that I have. So some competitors and alternatives, obviously, they're business coaches and consultants. They're personal branding, LinkedIn consultants. Part of this work is helping people with their profiles, what they say on platforms like LinkedIn and whatnot. And then obviously business development centers, chambers of commerce, things like that. So they all offer programs that help people with some of these things. I think in SOAR, we put it together in a unique, easy to consume sort of package that helps the business owner really walk through the process. It's a little bit self-paced, but also sort of a structure in terms of the 8-week schedule. But I have tremendous respect for all of these people and what they do. I'm trying to take a little bit of the best of these resources that I've gathered over the years of being in business and just present a alternative to the business owner who wants to, you know, work on themselves, right? They're obviously going to be working on their business, but they want to make a long-term investment in who they are, knowing that it is translatable, whether they continue in their business or they go into some other organization for the future, et cetera. So yes, just the structure is one-on-one, an hour per week, self-paced and structured. As I mentioned, development focused, not deliverable focused. And so the idea is they build a personal brand, but the eye is always on the business brand. And they can sort of tailor how they want it to achieve their goals. And I'll say this, the goal is really to turn a person who in the beginning may not be a great client for Enthuse Creative, right? They don't have the budget. They don't really have the vision sort of in place to really make a strategic branding effort worth it. You know, it's really a stretch for them and it's just not a great fit. The goal is through this SOAR program to work with that business owner and give them tools that helps grow their business to a point where they are a great client for Enthuse Creative. So ideally, we help people that have a great product or service become great business owners and really brand owners. And then, you know, a year, 2 years down the road, they built their business. They've gotten capital to the point where they're really ready to do that strategic branding for their organization. And it's a great fit. And, you know, the trust and relationship is already there. The value's already been added. So This is a little bit about how it's laid out, the different sessions over the course of 8 weeks. And so, we just kind of work through this at a pace that feels good for the business owner, and help them with all the basic, some mindset, as I said, some messaging, just sort of getting them in a position to be able to stand out and rise, to go out into the marketplace with confidence, with clarity. This is who I am. This is what I'm about. This is what my business does. And they're comfortable putting that on display and using that as a tool to start to draw attention and clients for their business. So next slide. And so back to the challenge question. From the perspective of early stage startup entrepreneur, what do you think may be missing from this offering? We kind of did a high level overview of what's offered. And then how can I create more meaningful differentiation and added value for my target client? So I'm all ears. Really appreciate your time and attention, and can't wait to get into the feedback. Thank you.
That was a great job, Reggie. I'm Melinda behind the slides. I am facilitating the conversation today. So just a little housekeeping really, really quick to continue what Tess said. If you've got a question, raise your hand. Use the icon if you can to raise your hand, because I can look at the participant list and I can see you then in that list, or put something into the chat. I can also see the chat. And if you don't really want to say something, put it in the chat and I may end up calling on you because you've had great ideas. Ask your question, keep it short, let Reggie answer it, but try not to ask another question on a question. Put your hand up again so that we can get everybody to talk. And I see right now, Carolyn, you're ready with the first question. Batter up.
Thank you so much, Melinda, and wonderful presentation for you, Reggie. I appreciate what you're doing here, and I had a similar niche when I was coaching early on, right after I got my degree. But my question for you is, what is the benefit for your client? You talk a lot about what you're going to offer them, but what is the benefit from all of the things that you're offering?
Sure. So I think that the main benefit is confidence and clarity when they go into the marketplace. Really being clear on who they are and it's like a mindset, so they can go into the marketplace more comfortable doing all the things that are required of the modern business owner to be able to get the visibility, to get the attention that's required to really help grow their business. So it's for people who recognize that they have a deficiency in terms of they're great at what they do, but in terms of being able to communicate that to other people, they recognize a deficiency there. So it's really meant to equip them with whatever they might be lacking in terms of confidence or clarity to be able to carry their message and the value of what they do to their audience.
Next, we have Tom Shipe, and then we have John Norse.
Morning, everyone. Reggie, I have more of a statement than a question for you. So you and I have known each other probably about 3 years before the pandemic. We used to sit beside each other in in-person meetings at Contacts Create Cash, and I had to punch you to get you to talk to me. So you have come an amazingly informational presentation you've got here today. So I congratulate you.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that.
Next, John, then Ken, and then Gresham.
Hey, Reggie, great job. Thanks for sharing more about your business. I didn't know the detail till now. But I have a question, and that is, your presentation seems to be geared towards people that aren't currently engaging or engaging at a low level. Is that correct? I'm trying to.
Correct. Yes. Okay. So it's yes. Mm-hmm.
So my question is, that's obviously a subset of the large. I mean, everyone in a sense possibly is eligible to be or interested in being in some form of branding. But my question is, do you feel like you're looking for people that are challenged instead of saying, where are the successful people that maybe I could pour gasoline and help them advance down the road even farther? I'm not sure if I think you might be limiting who you can help. If your talents are what I believe they are, because they seem to be very good, it seems like everyone could, in a sense, benefit from your services. That's just an observation. I don't know, and then the second thing, your 8 series thing, why would you stop at 8 meetings? Maybe there should be a maintenance thing or something, because 8 meetings probably wouldn't be a lifetime for a person to adjust to changes in the future and things like that. So maybe you could create a recurring revenue model.
Yeah, great point. What I neglected to say, thank you for reminding me. So I have created this. It's a little bit of a pilot program. I want to get good at this first. I think I'm already thinking about phase 2, where it's so SOAR is sort of like there's like you taxi on the runway and then you take off, right? So this is for the people that have been taxiing on the runway and are ready to take off. And then there's another level somewhere down the road, which I just don't think I'm ready to do that yet. Is for the people that are already flying, but they want to go to a new altitude, right? To use a plane analogy that I use a lot for this. So I think what you said is great, and it's definitely something I'm thinking about. I'm intentionally sort of limiting the scope. One, for time. I mean, with the baby and all that, it's a little bit, I don't want to overextend myself. I want to sort of prove that this model works with a client that I've encountered quite a bit, and then sort of build on that in the future. Thanks.
Next, we have Ken, and then we have Gresham.
So, of course, those of you who know me, I have lots of questions, but I'll limit it to one. Is this an additional offering for Enthuse Creative, or is this a pivot for your business?
So it's to augment what I'm doing. It is not intended to replace Enthuse Creative. It's meant to run alongside of it in a nice little frame that fits well with what I'm already doing. So it's certainly not meant to replace and doesn't represent, a pivot in the sense that I'm not going to be serving businesses anymore.
Next, we have Gresham.
Awesome job, Reggie. I would just the whole plane and the runway. I think you're definitely ready whenever, of course, the baby's ready to be able to make that happen. But kind of similar to what was already said, I kind of feel as if, especially with coaching, sometimes I feel like startups sometimes don't understand the value of coaching until they hit those roadblocks. So I almost think that I know you have the expertise and knowledge and having, worked with you, but I also think it's extremely valuable maybe for people, because like, even though the people aren't necessarily early stage and maybe in the life of their business around the personal branding aspect, they might be a little bit more newer in understanding what to do, how to do, have those kind of hurdles that they have to leap over or realize maybe even aren't hurdles. So I would just, throw out a thought that's kind of been said as well too, is that I think you have the knowledge and expertise and the awareness to be able to do that. So also people that are maybe shifting are trying to understand what the new normal is and how to create a personal brand. I think for one, they probably already have a successful business and a revenue to pay for it. But two, they also maybe know where they're struggling, and you can probably provide a little bit more help from that standpoint too.
Sure. One thing I'll just say is, so I've also thought about individuals that are, today they're working in an organization, and they, but they're doing something else on the side, right? They have this quote unquote side hustle that, is growing, and maybe they desire to one day leave the big organization and do their own thing. But what I've found commonly is those people struggle with the idea of, I work for the man, but I want to be able to do my thing over here and talk about it and, place it and present it before people, because this is what I'm really passionate about, right? Not what I'm necessarily doing in my career right now. So those people I found are a potential target, I think, as well, because they struggle with the idea. It's like the personal brand and the professional brand are in conflict. And I think I want to create it so that they complement each other more than have that conflict. So and those people, I think they are maybe 6 months to a year away from like, all right, I'm out on my own, but they could be a good fit, as far as a prospective client as well.
Reggie, before I call on Ken, because that's a second turn, I just want to add a couple of things in there. First, I wanted to congratulate you and really give you extra points, as I would say, for recognizing in an area that really needs to be done, because I recognize it as something that it's a non-deliverable. And if you start looking at, or a non-recognized deliverable, which is a better way to say it, I'm in that strategic planning area, and it's hard to give people value to what I do. And I really love what you've done to say, hey, there's issues with everybody out there, and you have now something that you can make money on. It's another income stream to help them get launched, get to the next step. And I really, really think it's brilliant, because when you sit back and people want to see deliverables from me, I mean, it's the business, it's the person behind the scenes, and this is a behind the scene kind of thing. With that said, my creative brain was going nuts this time, since I'm away from helping you put the presentation together. And I was thinking that you might want to think about, and you might want to, I'll elaborate later, but my idea is that you can give out a certificate that they are SOAR trained, or whatever it is, which could be kind of cool. And maybe I would suggest that you trademark that concept. And along with that, you might even think of a passport for SOAR, so that you've got different things that they check off along a list or a long time. So that may also be the tune-up when they come back once a year for planning or whatever it might be. And maybe where you bring in other people like Gresham, like me, like Tess, that we can help them focus in one area, so that it's not all just coming from you, but you're over it, it's your business, and you're bringing us in as extra consultants that can help that person in that specific area. And then they get it gets knocked off on or checked on their certificate. And then at the end, you can use your logo, which is great, and give them a real certificate that they can print and hang up, or maybe even add to their LinkedIn profile or other types of things, or be a source certified business. I mean, I think it's great. So with that, we've got Ken, and then we've got Gresh again.
Hey, Reggie, I think you're really onto something. I've been studying what I think is called the information economy. Mm-hmm. And the information economy is all of those people who are making money on their personal expertise. Mm-hmm. And there's a concept that I've come across called a ladder. And I think John Norse touched upon it, where he was talking about an ongoing long-term engagement. And that would be like at the top of the ladder. So your question is, what do I think might be missing from this offering? What I think might be missing from this offering is a structured ladder, where the lower rung of the ladder is something really easy for people to do. They respond, a lead drop, you're in. The lead drop grows them through the funnel, brings them along to the point where, and the lead drop, can be free, can be minimal cost. You're looking at low cost stuff. So you go from lead to webinar, free webinar, paid webinar, all up to you to determine what works best. And then move into deeper and deeper engagement. The 8-week weekly 1 hour is pretty high up on the ladder in terms of commitment by the participant and relative cost compared to the lower rungs of the ladder. So what I think might be missing from this offering is this sort of ladder structure that brings people along easily, especially because they're very price sensitive. grows your familiarity, grows their reliance on your expertise to greater and greater commitment, where you can have greater and greater impact and maybe even greater and greater income.
Great. Thank you.
Gresh, and then Tess.
Yeah, I'm gonna pretty much say a lot of what Ken said. Actually, I was thinking of the customer journey, and part of that journey, one of those kind of maybe lead magnets could be kind of just figuring out and maybe even creating your own list of things people need when they're starting the business. So especially if they're in that early startup stage, they're trying to figure out a list of all the things that they're supposed to do. You know, you're supposed to get your EIN number, supposed to file with the, you know, the state, just all those things. I believe that what might help as well too, you know, specifically for that client base, is if you have a list, or even maybe it's something you touch on during that, so that they get those kind of need to have things that they're quote unquote supposed to do, that, you know, whatever that list ends up being. It might be good to kind of include that we're going to get you, you know, at least up, or at least awareness around like what to do with those things. So for one, that'll help out as far as like, hey, these are the list of things that startup people need. But two, I think that might complement with those other quote unquote competitors that you have, whether they be like SBAs and all those organizations, because if they're already going through those steps, then you become kind of like a resource that can complement those, or can even let people know about those things as well too. So it might create a synergistic relationship too.
Great. Thank you. Yep.
Ken, and then Tess.
I think I forgot to take down my hand.
Oh, okay, Tess.
But if you're going to give me another opportunity,
You need to put up your hand again. Put up your hand again.
To follow up on what Gresh said, I think you and I are we're in the same industry. We kind of have the same target audience. So for me, I always put myself in the target client's shoes. So for me, I like to ask questions or have like a little infographic, right? Like Gresh was saying, things that they might not think about, or they just might not know, because they're new. So I like to put myself in, if they know what their target audience is, or if they can pinpoint that, I like to have an infographic that says, okay, these are who are you looking towards, you know, ask those questions like in an infographic, so that differentiate, you know, whether or not they should be in this course, is it appropriate for them now? Some of them just might not know unless you actually ask them questions, but ask them questions in a fun way. So I like to do, like I said, like an infographic where they're just, you know, 3 or 4 simple questions to kind of lead them to, you know what, I'm not quite ready, but you know what, maybe the following quarter, you know, let me get this stuff, because I'm still, you know, getting my, you know, checking account, business account, you know what I mean? Maybe they're still in that first couple of steps that they still need like another quarter. But I would lead them into that so that they can start thinking about those questions and start really kind of micro niching. That's the other problem with a lot of startups, is they don't really know until they get in it what they want to do. And then they kind of micro niche to a specific target audience, which then your course is actually going to help them, right? Because now they know exactly who they are, who they're trying to reach. It's hard when you start. You're like, okay, I love, you know, I'm a graphic designer. I like to design anything. But it's like finally you get to a point where, you know what, I really like to design for trade shows. I micro niche, you know, and that's what I want to do. But I think that leading your client to your course that you have, which I think is great. I love the breakdown. It makes sense. I think leading them by asking them questions for them to think about, and to see if they are ready right now, or if they're ready in the next quarter. That to me is where I think is a little bit missing, because some people might not know yet. They just don't know what they don't know, right?
Sure.
And then just being with those questions and with that infographic, I think that will help them actually start that mindset and, you know, differentiate what it is that's really important to think about when it comes to, you know, launching their product or service.
Great.
Next person I'd like to call on is Bella, because you wrote something at 9:33 that I think is worth sharing. So do you mind talking?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I guess my comment was mostly answering the second question that was on the slide, basically just answering that how can I create more of a meaningful differentiation? And one thing that stuck out to me when Reggie was presenting was that this is especially helpful for people, like we mentioned before, who are challenged, who are new to the idea of branding and personal branding. But I think what stood out to me was the introversion and the reservation, because that's also a huge aspect or a huge obstacle to people that prevents them from having a personal brand and putting themselves out there. But again, a lot of people don't realize that. And I think by advertising that, that would add additional value, especially because a lot of personal brand coaching programs, it's more about like, this is how to push yourself and this is how to get yourself out there. But a lot of people don't want to put themselves out there. So I think by playing on the idea of introversion, that kind of relates to the people who we're advertising to. And what else did I say? Yeah, that could be a more comfortable option, especially as they see themselves in this. Oh, like I'm introverted. I see myself in the idea of needing a personal brand to help me just work on this first before I push myself and get myself out there. But that was my idea behind that comment.
Yeah, thanks. So Bella is my intern for the summer. I just want to let everybody know that, and she's doing a great job. She's amazing. So I really appreciate her being here. A couple things, I guess, like, so right now, and I appreciate the last few people that have shared. So what I offer people is the opportunity to have like a strategy session where they get a taste of what it's like. And then I also want to do some info sessions where they can just show up, there's no cost, but it's really sort of an overview. Like here's again, a taste of what you would get. And then we'll do like some lead generation thing where they get, a lead magnet, whether it's a list or, checklist or something of that nature. I'm still kind of putting that together, but yeah, I do think I like the idea of giving people some, leading them on a little bit of a journey before they make that commitment. I mean, to me, like 8 weeks is, it's 2 months. I mean, most coaching programs I know are 90 days, so it's like we're giving you a break, and it's kind of, there's a little bit of a self-paced, there is that structure, but it's also self-paced as well. But yeah, I agree with the idea of giving them more opportunities to sort of engage without necessarily, signing up for the 8 weeks if it's a little bit beyond them, or it's not something that they see themselves doing. And I do like the idea of kind of leaning into the introversion. I mean, this is sort of made for people that were a little bit like me. I mean, the person that Tom described, I wasn't who I am today, but it's from all this stuff that I've learned on the journey. So it's really trying to get people to the point where they can do things like, confidently show up at 1 million cups in other settings from day one when they really get their business going, because that's going to help grow their business more than, spending thousands of dollars that they don't have on a website. Like, that's great, but, maybe you can do other things. And the most valuable thing you can do is invest in yourself. So thank you, guys.
Very well done. Why don't I call on Danelle at this point? I've got some other ideas for you, Reggie, that you're going to have to listen to later, by the way. But it's Danelle's turn to ask the final question.
I think we have one more person with their hand up. I think.
Oh, I didn't
Ken
see
and
that.
Liz.
Who was can you put make it brief, because we really need to go on to Danelle.
Yeah, I got it. Reggie, you just said something scary. You said, I'm thinking about this program in terms of somebody like me, and bringing to the marketplace what you think you need may not be as effective as going to the marketplace and finding out whether there's really a market, people who need something that you can give them. And so you can distort your business by looking at yourself rather than looking at the market to find out what the market needs.
Sure.
I can add something. I like your idea of going out into the marketplace and talking to people. I'd be very happy to help you put together some focus groups of people that want to talk about it. where you may be able to learn, and we could do that over cocktails or in a private room at a lunchtime or something like that to bring them there. So at least they're getting a focus group of, for example, asking a question. If you could change anything when you started your business or initially, what would you change? What have you learned since then that you wish you knew? And that might be a really great topic
Right.
to get people talking about in some kind of a, gatherings that you may want to do in Northern Virginia or Metro DC. And with that, I'm sending it over to Danelle.
Reggie, what a great and powerful presentation. I know you came here to get support, for yourself, but I'm pretty sure that there's plenty of entrepreneurs that are in the room right now that have the same question and need the same type of help. So thank you so much for putting yourself out there. And by putting yourself out there, you're helping so many other people. And it's also great to see your growth from the first time that you came to 1 Million Cups to now. I mean, you are reaching, newer heights. And so it's great to see your growth. My final question is, and I'm pretty sure you heard this before, what can our 1 Million Cups community do for you?
Thank you, Donnell. And I would say, obviously, if you know someone that, based on what was shared, could benefit from the SOAR program, would love to talk to them. Really, they don't necessarily even have to be interested, but if they are, an early stage entrepreneur, they're thinking about it. They've got a little side hustle that they want to step into full time one day. I would just love to talk to them to, continue to vet the idea, refine it. And I'll just say, so when I said, I'm thinking about people that were like me, I don't mean that in the sense that, you know what I mean? It's just a frame. It's not like that's what I'm using. Like, I want this is market driven. This is coming from countless conversations with other people that have expressed in some way, shape, or form a need for this service. So I'm thinking about me though, because I was where a lot of these people are, right? So that's always in my mind, but I really want to make it something that the market, is dictating, and that letting that shape, how it is formatted and presented and all that. So again, thank you everybody. And this was great. I really appreciate it.
Outstanding. Let's give him a hand.
And I'll put my info in the chat as well.
Great.
Absolutely. Please connect with Reggie. He's a wealth of knowledge. And as you see, he has some great tools to help you win as an organization. He's
also one of our ambassadors, and we're very grateful for that.
Likewise. Yep. Absolutely.
Yes, I need a background like John Foster. I don't have one, and I'm a bit envious. So
we'll make sure you're taken care of.
Hey, Reggie, John will sell it to you for the right price, or he'll lease it.
Absolutely.
Just stick your logo on it, Johnny, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'll put my logo on the other
brand
side.
You. We got to brand you, according to Reggie. We got to brand you.
Time to turn it back to Tess.
Okay, so we are looking for presenters. So if there's anybody that they can apply to present at 1millioncups.com/Fairfax. And we do have some speakers in the pipeline, and we're starting to work with them. However, we are looking for speakers and presenters. So please share that with everyone. As you can see, we do have an opening. We might have gotten an update this morning, but I can't remember for next week. This is current? Okay. So we do have an opening for next week, and then you can see that most of August is pretty wide open. We are reviewing some applications again that have come in the pipeline, so we should be getting those scheduled. So please share this link so that anybody that can apply and we can help them. Okay, so we've got some upcoming events. And actually, Donnell, let's go ahead and get you to talk a little bit really quickly about your veteran business pop-ups.
Absolutely. So we just opened up a pop-up shop in Woodbridge, Virginia, at the Stonebridge Town Center. Every Saturday and Sunday, we showcase up to 20 veteran and military spouse entrepreneurs. It's open to the public, and it's also a great place, that you can come and shop with your family. They have in the area. It's also an Apple store out there, a Starbucks, and other shopping that you can do in addition to coming by our pop-up shop. So you can have a day of it. They have a movie theater in the Alamo and all of that good stuff. But we would love for you guys to come out and support our veteran and military spouse entrepreneurs. In fact, Ken Portnoy actually came out with his wife. I believe it was last Saturday. Was it last Saturday or Sunday? I can't remember, but he came out and supported. So thank you so much, Ken, for taking time out of your schedule to support veteran entrepreneurship.
It was a great experience, and I recommend it to everybody. I even bought some stuff.
He did. He came out with a bag of goodies for himself. So I think I call it the triple win. You win, the vendor wins, and the community wins as a whole. So appreciate your support, Ken. And on the 28th of July, we're having a Veterans Connect networking event. You don't have to be a veteran to come out, but if you want to, connect with local veterans, please come out. It's at our pop-up shop. It's from 5 to 8 p.m. We're going to have appetizers and wine and beer until it runs out. I'm pretty sure it's going to run out pretty quick. But it's going to be a great time and a great event, networking with, my fellow veteran community.
Awesome, thank you. Do we have anybody here from the Central Fairfax Chamber this morning?
I don't think Jennifer is here today, and I was just looking at the list. Notables are, they have a breakfast, networking breakfast on I guess it was today. Wait, no, tomorrow, excuse me. And that's virtual, so if you want to get on it. They've got Rock the Block, which looks like a really fun event in the Fairfax area that you may want to look into. Roundtable meets every Tuesday at noon. It's a nice networking group. Nexco has a virtual networking meeting on the 27th, and that Nexco is another great group. Young Professional Network Leadership Team is meeting, and the Fairfax City Bridge Brothers is the follow-up to Rock the Block a week later. And then they have coming up Sat Art Day, sweet little things, art to show on the 30th of the month on a Sunday.
Okay, and thank you, Melinda, for that. And then I will put in the chat, I did put it in the chat earlier, but I will add it in the chat again. I am actually speaking tomorrow from 12 to 1. There's, I've been part of a speaker series this week for AMG Innovative Consultants, which is actually based on the West Coast. So we're actually, the actual summit that virtual summit that we've been doing this week is on how to be visible in a highly competitive market. So tomorrow I will be speaking on being visible to be viable, or to remain viable if you've been in business for a while, especially as you transition out of the pandemic. So I will, it's a free event. We're also going to do a roundtable for all the speakers that have been speaking this week on Friday, and that's also free. So I will put that in the chat, and we'd love to see you tomorrow on that as well.
That is awesome.
It's fun. It's absolutely fun. So if you are interested in becoming an organizer, please, reach out to us. We engage we really get down into working with the speaker presentations. That's where our focus is, in that business community in Fairfax. We have a weekly meeting that's about half an hour every Monday morning. We try to stick to that because we know that everybody is busy and needs to get onto their workday. You can add your marketing, your coaching, your speaking facilitator skills. it's a small time commitment, and it keeps you really, really invested in making this community successful as well. You get to help them. If you've been a speaker before, it's great to give back. If you have not been a speaker, it's still great to go through the process with a brand new speaker. You may just be able to give some of your expertise as a business owner. But we do highlight you on the organizer slide, and also, it kind of encourages other people to become leaders in this community. So we'd like to thank you for taking the time today. Entrepreneurship is a lonely journey, and we acknowledge all the barriers that you may face in starting and growing your business. Our 1 Million Cups community is fueled by passionate entrepreneurs who are looking to support and learn from people like you. So on behalf of our organizing team, we'd like to invite you to join us every Wednesday morning, and let us know if you'd like to become more involved. We are part of the Kauffman Foundation, and they work with communities in entrepreneurship and education to increase opportunities that allow people to learn, to take risks to their own success. You take risks, you own your success, and you be uncommon.